Happy Sip and Sparkle Sunday. Hello, Miss Charlotte.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Awesome. I'm so excited you're here. So, well, let's take a sip. That's usually what we do to start the event. Little bubbly is always nice. All right. Well, for those of you just joining us, I host a weekly Sip and Sparkle Sunday series, and the purpose is to interview local business owners in the community and just to join networks and create an awareness for all the fabulous resources that we have. And I'm so excited that you're here because what you do is so needed and is definitely specialized, and I think a lot of people have no clue what you can do can really help them. So I'm really excited to chat with you about it.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
Yay! So with that, I'll turn it over to you and we'll just go from there.
So, well, my name is Charlotte Dudley and I am a special education advocate. And what a special education advocate can do is to help parents become much more aware of what is out there for their children that have special needs. So if you have a child that's in school that has special education services, or you may think needs special education services, I can help you figure out what those services would be. Okay,
I love that. So why don't you share a little bit about when you say special education? I know it's so broad, and I think some people may think, well, that may not qualify. So can you just explain a little bit about what is in your realm?
All right. Well, special education services are when a child has any kind of a learning difference, and they may need just better access to the general education curriculum, or they may need a completely different curriculum than what everybody else, has typically in the classroom. So it's just a wide gamut. I mean, maybe it is a slight learning difference as far as they need, special seating because they have a hard time concentrating. Maybe they need to stand when they work. I mean, these are accommodations and things that can be added. But sometimes there's a lot, it's a very severe learning difference and or a physical disability that requires some very specialized services. So it really depends on the child and what their needs were and where those services need to be addressed.
Okay, awesome. So how did you get into this? Did you just wake up one morning and just say, I really have a passion for this and I want to do it? Or did it kind of gradually evolve? Yeah. Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
So, well, I have been a special education teacher for most of my career and worked with special needs students in one capacity or another since I was in high school and then, through. So my master's degree was in special education. That's where my passion lies with teaching. And then, and so I advocated for students in the classroom.
Okay.
But my daughter had some learning differences, so I advocated for her as a parent as well.
Okay.
And I realized how emotional that can be when you sit on that side of the table versus on the, professional side of the table. So I really wish I had had an advocate back in my earlier days because it was a difficult time. So when I, quit teaching for a little while, I had an opportunity to work in a law office as a special ed advocate. That gave me some great connections with a special education lawyer, and I kind of saw how being an advocate could work, and then decided to go out on my own. So
I love that. That. Is there a particular avenue that you're going towards right now? Like, okay, so we have an audience here. What is it that we can do to help you grow your business? What would be the best? Yes. What would be the best referral, I guess, for you at this point?
Well, obviously, any parent that has a child that may be struggling in school in any way, they would be a great source. PTAs, having an opportunity to speak or talk with them would be great. But also, there's lots of professionals out there that work with our kids that have just need special services. So speech pathologists would be great.
Okay.
Occupational therapist, physical therapist, behavior specialist, all are great referral sources for me because they're working with the parents I need to reach.
Okay. Awesome. Are there like a certain number of students that you take on at a certain time, or is it just kind of anybody and everybody?
Well, what parents have come to me asking for has varied. So I can review paperwork for somebody.
Oh, okay.
And consult with the parents and say, you might want to think about this in your meeting. I see that this isn't included. You might want to look at that.
Okay.
So I can consult, and that's, that's one type of client,
Okay.
but they feel strongly or, comfortable being in the meetings themselves and don't want to bring in a representative.
Okay.
Other parents really want somebody on their side sitting on that side of the table, which I totally understand. Like I said, I wish I had that. So, I can attend meetings and go through things. A lot of times goals that are being written for the children are not appropriate, or they're not rigorous enough, or don't address everything that could be addressed. So there's often times where I can make recommendations or even rewrite those and help propose those to the school. So it varies as far as, writing things, sending letters, communicating with the school. So, it's kind of hard to put a number on the clients, because it just depends on what they're needing.
Absolutely.
And how many. And then, once an IEP meeting is written and everything is set, I can review the goals and make sure that, the school is doing what they're supposed to do, but that's not as intensive at that point as maybe the initial meetings. So, but quite often what happens is that a parent will call me like 2 days before a meeting, like, oh my gosh, I need some help.
Help!
In 2 days. And so, that's where it can get a little tricky in trying to,
of course,
get something done. But most of the time it's...
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's a good example.
Totally answered your question.
No, that's great. And I don't think I worded it as well as I could have. I think that was great, because it gave a really good example of the different types of things that you do in your job. Now, you had mentioned like speaking to PTAs or what have you. So do you do a lot of speaking engagements just to kind of educate people on what you do? Or
I haven't yet, but that's definitely one of the goals that in the directions I'm trying to get into, because I feel like just educating parents in any way about what is out there and what they can be looking for is really important. So I'm kind of heading in that direction. I think it's a very valuable resource, that just being able to do that and something I'm trying to, so that I can reach those parents and they can, just have the information that they need.
Oh, absolutely.
Going forward. Or and even instruct them on where they can be researching to find information, what resources are out there as far as books, so that they can advocate. Because once you have a child that is that has any kind of special services, that advocating is a lifelong thing. So, and I don't think any parent's going to expect to have an advocate like me with them for the next, if they're kindergarten, the next 12 to 15 years. However, I could, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But my goal is with any client is to educate them so that they can continue to advocate.
Got it.
In the way that's going to be most helpful for their child.
I love that. So is there any kind of like state funding or legislative? I think you mentioned in a networking meeting that there was some legislative things going on right now that is making it a little challenging. So
well, what happened is that Texas has a while back put a cap on the number of special education students that could be identified or tested in the schools, and it brought our numbers down way below the national average, which was a red flag. So once investigated, Texas was given some pretty heavy fines on their federal funding for special education services because they weren't using them correctly.
Wow.
So this year, Texas had to make up for that, and they have put a very hefty amount into the budget to help fund special education. And that's, that money needs to be used the right way.
Absolutely.
So it's there.
Okay.
And it like with anything in education, it takes a while to trickle down and get to the people it needs to be at. So that's where an advocate can be very helpful, or, and again, researching, just to find out what's out there for your kids, because, this stuff needs to be happening. There have been a lot of children that were not identified, and some of that funding is specifically to help remediate those children's services that weren't given back when they should have started being given a while back. So there's there's money that's being infused into the system specifically for special education, but you got to know how to tap into it and how to get it.
And that's why Charlotte can be so helpful. So before we forget, how do people contact you if they need you? What's the best way for our viewers to contact you?
Oh, well, I should have brought a sign.
It's okay. You can say it. We'll run it underneath the video here. So.
All right. So, but I have a website. It's DudleyAdvocacyandConsulting.com. So that has all of my information on it. It talks about my services, some things that, I can do. It also gives my phone number and email address. If you
Okay.
wanna do that. But you could also go to Charlotte at dudleyadvocacyandconsulting.com.
Okay.
Very, very long. It's hard to type in, but
Again, it's going to be right below this, so it's all good.
but yeah, Dudley Advocacy and Consulting, and it is the best way probably to reach out to me and learn a little bit more about me if you go to my website.
Okay, perfect. So I know for client confidentiality reasons you don't give names, but can you give like a testimony of something that comes to mind, either something that you're working on right now that has really started to make a difference, or somebody in the past that you have helped that...
Well, I've had a few clients over this last spring, and but one of them was very dear to me, and they had a child that had some behavior concerns, and they were trying to work with the school to get the right behavioral program. So I went with them to several meetings, and they were advocating for their child to stay in the classroom and to get the special, just some additional help, for the teachers and for their child to help with his anxiety and that kind of thing. And it was just a very dear family. We became very close through the process, and the school really tried and tried various things that I don't think they would have tried. If we hadn't worked together so well. So that was something that, eventually there was a specialized program that he did end up going into, which was kind of our last resort. But I think that having spoken with the parents through the summer, they were pleased with how it ended, after he got settled. So,
Good. Okay. Well, I would say that was a success.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very cool.
So, and then just, any time that we're able to meet with a school and get additional accommodations in there that are going to help somebody access that curriculum and, have more success and a better educational experiences.
Absolutely. That's huge.
Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're little, sometimes they don't, but.
Yeah. Hey, every little bit helps. I think that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Have you ever encountered where maybe the system was not in your favor and you just weren't able to get what you really wanted?
Oh gosh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the whole idea is that if you have an advocate or when you're advocating for your child, that you're going to be able to work well with the district and with the school and really get the services that your child needs and come to a mutual agreement. But it doesn't always work. So I've helped one client with a TEA complaint. She wanted to do a formal complaint against the district, and that was the avenue she chose to go. So we've been working on that complaint together, and then she submitted it to the Texas Education Agency, and that's gone, pretty well. I mean, the investigation is happening, and so far she's pretty happy with the results.
Good.
So, but there was another instance where I had to collaborate with a special education lawyer. I think she was on your show.
Yes, Miss Jackie Dodd.
Yes, pretty amazing. And we had a due process case.
Oh, wow.
And the district, we couldn't come to a resolution with the district, so we took it to due process, and it settled in mediation, which was fantastic.
Okay.
But that was a real win for that student, and I think it helped give the teachers and the school some of the education and resources that it didn't have access to before. So it was a win-win for everybody in that situation, although you never want to go to due process unless it's a last resort. So that was, but it was successful for that child, and it's what needed to happen in that situation. So the idea is always to work with the school and make sure we get the services for the child on, that level. But if it doesn't work, there are alternative things that we can do, and we can move forward and get additional help.
I love that. That's a good example of different options. So let's change gears a little bit. I'd like to learn more about you. I'm sure our viewers would as well. So maybe what are some fun things that you like to do that maybe people who know you don't know, maybe something a little different, or I don't know, fun trip you went on, or I don't know, whatever. What would you like to share?
Well, you and I both went to the Dominican, and that
we
was
did.
Separately, but it was both loved it. It was a great trip, and it was a beautiful place. But my husband and I love to scuba dive, so we got to do that while we were in the Dominican. And anytime we get close to a beach, we look for an opportunity to dive. So that's probably one of our favorite hobbies for sure.
Fun.
But any kind of traveling is great.
Yes.
With our family. So.
Okay. So where have you dove before?
Well, one of our favorite places is Belize. We go to Ambergris Key. It's a little island off the coast of Belize that we absolutely love. The Dominican was really nice. still like Belize best.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. That's all right.
But as far as beauty, you know, they're both
Mm-hmm.
great places. We have dove in Cozumel
Okay.
and Cancun. We dove in Spain.
Oh, wow. I bet
So-
that was amazing.
You know, it was completely different, but the Mediterranean has been horribly overfished, so we didn't see any fish at all.
Oh, no.
It was shocking.
Wow.
But I can say I dove in Spain.
Okay.
So, you know.
Right. Exactly.
So that was something that was really
Yeah.
good with that. I have dove off of the East Coast down by Miami
Oh, okay.
with some wreck diving down there.
Okay.
We got our certification, I got my certification in lakes over like Lake Travis and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So my
Okay.
certification was my PE credit. Texas A&M.
That's so funny.
So
Okay.
that was, so I've been diving for quite a while.
Wow, you have.
Yeah, I
That's
started
awesome.
with my dad and then, you know, my husband. I enjoy it, so.
Okay, my husband dives too. I've never done it. I think it'd be fun. I can't picture diving in water that I can't see what's around me. That would kind of make me a little uncomfortable.
That's why you need to dive in places like the Dominican and Belize.
Exactly.
Then you can
Or
see
Hawaii
everything
or
around
something.
you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that would be cool. That I would like. But
Mhm.
yeah, because then you just feel like you're in a big bowl with,
With a bunch, you're in an aquarium.
Yeah, a giant aquarium.
So yeah, it's absolutely like that. Our son had to get certified in a lake in February,
Okay.
and he came out literally blue. I don't
Oh,
know how
my
he did it.
gosh.
And we told him, if you could dive here, you are certainly going to be able to dive anywhere. 'Cause
Absolutely.
It doesn't get any worse than this.
Right.
Our daughter, if she decides to certify, she can do all of her bookwork here, and we'll certify her in a really
In
fun
a
ocean.
tropical place,
in a
yeah.
nice, warm, clear water ocean. So
Exactly.
Because we felt really bad about his experience. It was
Yeah,
rough.
that would be tough.
So, but you can
Yeah.
do that. See, you can do all of your bookwork here, and then go certify your dive somewhere.
Okay. All right. Well, I just might have to do that. That would be super fun.
Everybody should try it
Yeah,
at least once.
absolutely. All right. Well, anything else that maybe we have missed that you would like to add
Oh gosh. I
in
don't know.
closing that you would like our viewers to know?
Well, if you think of anybody that may need any kind of help just navigating the special education process,
Mhm.
I would love to talk to them. And so keep me in mind when you're talking with your friends, or your grandchildren's friends, or
Mm-hmm.
so, because you never know. I mean, just having it as an option or as somebody to consult is very helpful, I think.
Absolutely.
And I would love to be that person for them.
And I mean, isn't she awesome?
I mean, it is a very stressful
Very.
thing. And when the parents go in, sometimes there's 20 people on the other side of the table,
Yikes.
and they're telling you all about your kid, and you're just being bombarded with
Wow.
information, and it feels very negative.
Mhm.
And that's not their intention by any stretch. They're just trying to address, their concerns for his education to you.
Right.
Or maybe it's the other way, and you're trying to convince them of your concerns,
Mhm.
but you feel like you've got a wall of people against you, and I hope that I can be that reassuring, calming,
Absolutely.
voice on the other side of the table
Yes.
with them.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Charlotte. This has been
Gosh,
awesome.
thank you. This has been fun.
Yes, it's been really fun. So, all right. Well, cheers. Oops, as I splashed champagne. How terrible. All right. Well, until next Sunday, may you sip and sparkle. Have a good one.